Howdy folks, Doc here with Last Best Tool, and I've got a handful of different airline flights that I've got to get ready for over the next few months, and one of the things I wanted to do was build a TSA approved small tool kit for who knows what. But before I jump into that, I did have a person in the comments ask if, I believe they were asking if this vessel hammer would fit through the loop on the side of a Vito bag. So I've got a Tech MCT here. This is the taller version, and I'm actually building a specialty kit with this thing, but there are two large loops on the sides which are designed for the shoulder straps, and he asked if this hammer would fit in there, and it actually does. On the tall one, it stays above the ground. On the regular sized one, this does hit the ground. That's a big deal. And I threw a snap-on, one of these small kind of dead blow ball peens on this side just to show you it actually does fit just fine in there. So I guess there's hammer carrying capabilities on these smaller actually all the Vito bags that have this large ring. But anyway, I'm thinking about several tools, kind of the classics. Let me line this up down a little bit better here. Kind of some classic tools just to have. TSA, basically says no sharps and no tools over 7 inches when fully assembled. And like, here's a snap-on screwdriver. I usually, have these in vehicles and things like that. If I pull out my tape measure and look right here, this is almost 7 inches. I could probably pull this apart. And no piece here is very long at this point. However, if somebody wanted to argue it, yeah, when you assemble this thing, it does become a longer tool that's over 7 inches. So that one's out. And I'd like to be fairly well under that, just in case somebody eyeballs it. And I thought about what are the classic tools. Basically a screwdriver, a wrench, and pliers. So here are my 3 choices at the moment. So I'm looking for your input as well. I'd love to bring something like this. This would be ideal, except this is over 7 inches, barely. This one also can, if I extend this, go over 7 inches, but it is fully assembled in this position. So I'm going to call it good enough. See what happens. I did look at some other screwdrivers. I like the design of this for a quick one. One thing, because this pops up, and this is actually the major area of torquing on the thing, this has to be fairly strong. We'll see how it holds up, and that's kind of nice. You could also, of course, take it all the way out, but it shouldn't have any trouble getting through here. These are well under. These are great. I have traveled with these before. I'm also going to give this a shot and see what happens. I did pull out the blade on this and just replaced it with this little brass washer thing. There's no corkscrew. There's nothing else that, as far as I can tell, TSA would really worry about. And fully assembled, this thing is still only 6 inches, and it's a SOG, old SOG I've had for a while. If they take it, oh well. Got a bunch of different flights, including international flights, so we'll see how that goes. And then I thought I'd throw it in something that was a little less innocuous, or a little less conspicuous, excuse me. So I'm using this Right in the Rain pouch. Just sliding these things in. Looks pretty simple. And I'm going to be working with a few other things. One is I'm building out a handful of objects. Obviously this one won't go, but that I would have on a ring. I've got a flashlight, I've got the fire steel, I've got a titanium whistle, pry bar, compass. I'm going to add to that if you can think of anything. And then for a light, I'm probably going to go with this Streamlight wedge. There are lights that I could put into a turned off mode, a way to basically lock them. But what I'm preferring here is it's very difficult to get this light to accidentally turn on. There's no tail cap or anything. And even if it does, it's going to be at its well, a 300 lumen setting, and this really doesn't get hot here. It does go to 1,000, but that would require something to continuously push this. So that one will probably end up in here as well as my light. I thought about a few others, but I wanted to make sure there was just no way to turn them on accidentally, even though this is a carry-on. So I'm curious what you're thinking as far as other essential tools. I thought about some Knipex, etc. I think if I had to have just one tool, you know, for almost anything, it really is the slip joint plier. I can just do so much, whether I'm trying to do first aid stuff, bending things, cutting things, twisting things, grabbing things, you know, processing stuff. I mean, there's just something about that. So that's definitely there. Of course, I need a good screwdriver. I thought about using a stubby, but I don't want a stubby if I can go with a full-size handle. And then nothing tops a wrench. I thought this would be a nice, simple one. A little snap-on here. Looks kind of old school. Shouldn't attract any real attention, but it is certainly capable of doing some stuff there. Of course, I've got plenty of other tool options. However, when I'm thinking about just a very small kit, I don't have any direct need for it at the moment. I mean, I'll probably have some electronic stuff with me, but I'll carry that separately. But for a carry-on, TSA approved kit for basic stuff, a lot of unknowns. What am I missing, or what would you substitute? Or have you tried this? I know a lot of you fly around with different tool kits. Have you run into any TSA issues? Or are there any particular tools that you think TSA might be more sensitive to? You know, does that look like a switchblade? Anyway, let me know in the comments. I'm looking forward to this. With that, Doc out.